what you believe success to be, and how you're going to build your connection with your audience. And I used your imagination and your inner child to connect with that experience. And now that we've upgraded to that, we're now in the inner teenager, and your inner self wanted to get the chance to speak. And this is what it usually looks like, where you believe that the territory that you're walking into or the environment that you're going to be placed in is not going to express exactly who you are or the things that you want to embody. And we are preparing for those days to come. We're preparing for the experience that we're going to embark on. So what does that look like? And that usually is what you're going for. We should have an ultimate goal that we're trying to achieve, and moving towards that goal would align with certain tasks and skills to perfect and improve in. And for the summer solstice, we have a lot of planets. We're not really talking about planets today. We're talking about the mindset. But with this part, we're going to be focusing on what does your industry need? How is your role going to affect your industry? What kind of impact are you looking to make? And what type of connection do you want with your audience? And I wanted to focus on short-term, long-term, and mid-range for the sake of offers. So whatever you're offering your community, or the things that you're going to contribute to your community or industry, what is the time frame that people are going to engage with your offer? Is it a long-term process? Is it a short process? How are you helping people? So that's one thing that I wanted to focus on this summer solstice video, because we could talk about planets all day, but when you have your offer formulated and you had it kind of like critiqued up into a certain point before you start engaging that offer with other people, there's but so much you can do on your own. You have to kind of like have people interact with it. So once that happens and you maneuver towards your goal, or at least attempting to achieve the goal with the ideal client that you have, how long do they interact with it before they gain what they're supposed to gain as a solution? And that part will help you deliberate how you can offer your offer, what it looks like to experience the offer, and find out loopholes that you can kind of like skip, or find something that can propel you further to, like, build something solid. So the foundation is pretty much what we're focusing on, and I wanted to get that explanation out before we started talking about planets, because this can be an ongoing thing. We're just now getting into it, and the experience that you want to have moving forward is going to be a little intense. So with the Imprinted Empire, as we've built our way through this, we are kind of having people understand that everything that you do should be leading up to your ultimate goal. So your ultimate goal is your MC. That's the 10th house. And we use your rising sign to travel the first 8 houses of your birth chart. That is how you deal with your internal world. After the 8th house, you deal with what you learned. Then you leverage it over to your career, and then you leverage your career towards your industry, which would be your 11th house, and then you go through that cycle again. So as you know, we start with the MC. Your MC will help you out, then you'll find your rising sign, and then you'll maneuver. But you could do your rising sign first and then find your MC, either way. So once you work with that, you're going to be able to know exactly what your rising sign embodies and the way you're perceived to the world. After you are figuring out who you are perceived to be, then you can know how you want to identify yourself and what parts you should alter so that it fits your ultimate goal. And then you can kind of, I want to say change, but this is a portion of transformation through your psyche, and your identity is the first thing that gets changed, and you need to alter that to the point where you feel confident to maneuver through the first phase of your journey, and that's usually the first house, identity. Then you go to the second house and you get your self-worth, your money, your income, and your material life, and the things you want to, or I should say the things you're going to need to experience everything else that you have on your journey. So pretty much want to focus on that. So outside of building a product or a service that you're going to be offering to your community, the experiences that you're going to anticipate along your journey are the things that you're going to help your community along the way with. Yes, they're going to have unmet needs that is already being complained about and kind of like discussed amongst the industry through your community. The best way is that the communities and people online are already utilizing social media for as a diary. So they're already putting out there what their complaints are. And if you're listening, you will be able to, that's pretty much like the research. You have to know what your audience is looking for. And once you find out what they're looking for, you'll be able to find a solution to their problems. Other than that, you are anticipating the obstacles that they're likely to experience on their journey so that you can provide offers for those challenges. So that's pretty much what it is. When you are working with your industry, you're gonna provide solutions and inspiration. That's how you make an impact. You have to inspire them with something, and utilizing things that are already created and innovating them, bringing forth a new way to utilize something, to experience something, is innovation. And I think that is how you're going to be utilized as an asset for people to hire you, or for you to put yourself in a position to be an asset for somebody to profit from. And that's usually the exchange of the human experience. Now, the portion of having a solid foundation, when you are maneuvering through your earth signs in your birth chart, the earth houses that you have are going to show you where you struggle, where you have self-worth, and where you're going to excel. And the struggle is going to be the 6th house and your Virgo house. And those experiences are going to help you with your operation system and how to prepare, deliberate, and where you procrastinate the most. That is going to give you total feedback on what your archetype is struggling with, what your archetype needs to improve with, and how you should enhance your skills. So outside of building that, you want to focus on how your industry is being perceived by its community. Now, people usually are the easiest one to see right now is the music industry. A lot of people have their critiques. And I think for myself, I don't really have too much critiques on music. I think good music makes for good artists, and most people don't have to say much when the music's good. It's usually if a person likes the song, people like the song, they sing all the lyrics, and that's how you know you have a good record, right? So the industry, people have critiques about it, and some people believe that artist development is lacking, and the personality and individualism is the thing that's pretty much lacking, right? So with that being said, that's kind of like a good way to like segue into this. Now we can find people who need to have their own identity, or the identity needs to be spoken, that it's inspired from somebody, right? So these experiences that you have building your identity is going to be how you're discussed within your industry, the same way that we talk about artists and such things. So in the hidden dialogue for the Imprinted Empire, we have a lot of posts that are referencing the hidden dialogue. The hidden dialogue is every house in your birth chart has a personality because it has a zodiac sign. And every theme of that house is expressed through the archetypes and attributes of that zodiac sign and planetary body. Your placements in your birth chart in those houses are going to influence the way you interact with the themes of those houses. So we can say a Taurus house and a Aries house and a what is it called, the Sagittarius. We can say all those things, but the experiences that you have in each one of those houses are going to reference a theme in your life, and you will experience it in such ways, right? The best way to prepare for those things is to know who you are. Life is going to life all the time, and that does not change who you are. So I am a Scorpio stellium. I am through and through transformation, transmutation, and embodiment. So outside of utilizing Scorpio energy, the opposite of that is Taurus. Now, Taurus is going to focus on material world. And outside of like being a material person, that could be a good thing or to your detriment. And it's up to you to know who you are before you have the material. And that's the Scorpio energy. Scorpio deals with what they have before they have more. And that transformation is before they have more. So they're utilizing their resources beforehand before they receive their reward. And in astrology, Saturn is going to help you build the discipline. Now, how I like to look at Saturn, I went through my Saturn return and I was not, I don't think I perceived ambition the right way before. And after my Saturn return, I understood ambition to its fullest extent, to my knowledge, to my experience, to my awareness, to my phase of journey that I need to know. To this extent, I know the depth of ambition, right? So when you are building for your foundation, you have to know who you are. And that goes with what you're offering. Your ego is, well, let me go back to Saturn. Saturn is going to be the planet that helps you respect your discipline. When you respect your work ethic, when you are consistent with your work ethic, when you take your work ethic serious, there's a 7-year process that you go through with Saturn. And Saturn is going to make sure that you respect yourself, you respect your work ethic, you're going to respect your emotional state. Once you respect yourself, that's when you're able to move past Saturn's bridge. I'm just going to be honest. A lot of people don't respect relationships and they don't get past relationships. That when you do not respect something, that is where Saturn is, because at this point, we should know that Saturn rules time in chronological order. You cannot change chronological order. You cannot change time to go to a time you want. You have to respect what time is. And that sometimes gets away from us because we will believe that we have enough time and we don't have enough time. Or we believe we're rushing and we don't need to rush. Respect that time is just what it is, right? So deliberation, I call a spiritual, I call procrastination a spiritual deliberation. So deliberating on your moves prior to the move being taken is what procrastination is. However, it should be the time that you have to yourself with your inner teenager, your inner adult, your inner goals, all those things that you want to achieve should be a spiritual deliberation. So when you're working with Saturn, you have to respect yourself. Your sun sign is going to be the archetype that is going to reference who you are at the end of your goal. Your sun sign is your ego. And your sun sign is going to get you into some if you allow your ego to tell you that it's time to go to the next level before Saturn has shown you that you now respect yourself, right? So I like to use the sun sign, and this is as a personality explanation. We're not talking about planets for real. We're just talking about the attributes and the contrast of each people that have to actually build an understanding about the planets in themselves, because people truly believe that they're not these attributes and characteristic traits of these planets. They truly believe there's a contrast. So if the contrast is there, Saturn's going to tell you that you have to believe in who you are, know who you are before you can live that life. So when you're building that respect for yourself, this is how you're able to maintain a level head to make decisions in frantic environment, in uncertainty. You have to have a level of calmness and stoicism. I think that's the word, stoicism, and open mind to make the decisions that need to be made in order for you to stay on brand for yourself, of course, but to stay in alignment with the goal that you're trying to achieve. So outside of the imprinted empire, the hidden dialogue is all 12 signs in the zodiac wheel for your birth chart. Each one of those houses is having a conversation with other houses through the aspects. And We have a couple of aspects that are going to be utilized throughout your days and throughout transits and all these other things. But you should know exactly what accesses in your birth chart actually work for your work ethic. And this is where you utilize your second house, your sixth house, with your ninth house. You're going to be utilizing your ninth house for the ultimate goal. How do you get there? Utilizing your second house and your sixth house. Again, your sixth house is the operation system and how you execute your plans to achieve your goal in the 10th house. So, again, how long are people going to be utilizing your offer through these experiences when you are anticipating what challenges they're going to be they're going to be experiencing? You want to make sure that everything that you have going on is going to tend to the experience your customer is going to go through, and that's how you help them, right? So what does it look like to help them after the first time, right? So not that you want some people to be recurring customers, but this is where you improvise. And improvising is going to be where you have to anticipate the challenges to its fullest extent. So after this, what's likely to happen? And this is where probabilities happen, and you want to do some groundwork and focus the research on trying to solve the problems that are in alignment with your ultimate goal. So every task, every piece of information, every skill should be lined up with the ultimate goal being what you're trying to reach. That's what I mean by staying on brand. So as I've explained the very few things that we talk and discuss about, I want to focus on let's see things. So give me a second. So I wanted to focus on the story behind the artist, the attributes of the character. The archetype has a beginning stage and the end stage. Just like in a movie, we know the character before the end of the movie. Now we know the character at the end of the movie. Both personas are different, although it's the same person. So each one of your phases is going to always sound like the end of the story because you have yet to get to the next phase, the next chapter, and stuff like that. So each portion between your end goal and the first attempt or first step or whatever the case is going to require a new persona from yourself. So as you're building yourself, you want to focus on the improvement. And when you get discouraged is what you pay attention to the most. This is where the imprinted empire comes in, because discouragement is a distraction. And it's proof that you believe in the limiting beliefs that stop you from executing your goals. So you just need proof that that limitation is real, and that limitation will indeed stop you. All you need is proof, and that proof is what you are going to utilize to support being discouraged. Now, outside of you being discouraged, you pursuing these goals and improvising is going to help you attract opportunities. Improvising, attracting opportunities. Improvising, attracting opportunities. Improvising, attracting opportunities. With any industry, if you improvise and you work on skills that are going to improve your craft and push you towards your goal, push you towards skills that are going to improve you to receive rewards for the goal, or anything, push you towards milestones that are going to build opportunities, that is how you build your craft. You could do passion projects, you could do mood boards, but actively doing case studies or research towards what you are trying to offer is improving your craft. So you have to do that no matter you have clients or not. That is always a repetitive cycle that you should have at all times. Being a master in your craft is going to be what your evolution story is about. Now this segues into, why is your offer being offered in this specific way? Now everybody can offer. Everybody can offer a ring. Everybody can offer a pen, right? But the person who makes the pen had challenges, and they had experiences that made them feel inadequate, and all those things help them believe that they needed some type of support that they didn't have once they were experiencing it. So after they experience it, they know that they needed this along the way. So now they make something that is going to help them along the way after the fact, right? But they now know that whatever they make is going to be useful for the person that has not experienced that path yet. So everything that you experienced the first time around and you did not have with you as a tool, you did not have with you as something that would be of help or assistance to you. Now that you've made that for other people, this is the experience that I'm talking about. Is that offer that you're giving them a short-term experience, a long-term experience, a mid-range experience? And how long will these people be utilizing your craft? That is what you need to find out before you are actively marketing anything. There is a life cycle of your offer, and that's what you find out through the hidden dialogue. Outside of the hidden dialogue being something that you have to build on your own, it is solely based on your efforts and what you're willing to give. You're willing to give time and dedication to. So the evolution story of the artist is your beginning stage, as if you are a main character in your story. And then you have the first cycle, second cycle, third cycle, and that cycle could stop and that be just your first chapter. Then you start your second chapter, and that could have about 7 to 12 cycles. These experiences are going to last a long time, and documenting them is going to be your sweet spot in helping people in your industry or people who gravitate that have future collaborations with you, all the above. So the Imprinted Empire is solely based on how you can utilize your limiting beliefs to navigate your industry. Your limiting beliefs are flaws. However, your flaws always should be nurtured. And that's where I find I am most useful. So again, I am a psychology-based astrologer. We are going to talk about all the things I want to say psychologically, but more of a conscious-based. We want to talk about consciousness. We want to talk about the inner world. We want to talk about things that are going to help you transmute limiting beliefs into prosperity. We want to utilize every flaw as something to be nourished so that you can bypass distractions that are proof of your limiting beliefs. So my phone's going to die and I don't want to be on here too long and it die on you guys. So see you later.